So I've been experiencing something lately. I may have mentioned before. Uh, just a weird waking dream state, which I choose to believe means that there's an interdimensional rift being caused by the thing happening at CERN, the particle accelerator experiments they do over there. I think maybe we're opening up a rift in space-time that's maybe going to return us to the timeline in which Harambe lived, the moment just before he was murdered.
Let's hope so. Also, while we're on the subject of gorillas and apes in general.
Ape, 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 ape. Nice mug.
Thanks, my best friend bought it for me.
Aw.
I want to talk about the six-gun gorilla. All right.
All good apes must come to an end. We've enjoyed April, and we thank the outlaw Levi Wallace for creating it. We'll do it every year. I'll do it until the day I die.
I found more ape and ape-related stories. It's one of those things where you're like, well, how many are there? And I'm not talking about Tarzan. We won't. That's obvious. How many are there? Well, it turns out there's more. There's more than you can squeeze into 1 month worth of April, though. But today, I want to finally get around to putting a cap on the end of this first April by talking about the six-gun gorilla. I'm going to call it a book a lot when I talk about this, but it's actually not a book. It's a book because I made it a book, and also, again, don't mind the terrible AI quote-unquote art. I found this picture on the internet before I really knew what AI even was. But the six-gun gorilla made his debut in a British magazine back in like 1939 called The Wizard. And it was a serialized adventure about this gorilla named O'Neill, who was bought by this old prospector and used as like company while he was busy, mining for gold in Colorado and, during the gold rush. And he teaches O'Neill how to do all kinds of things like fetch water, a little bit of cooking, chopping firewood, which he really just rips apart with bare hands. And of course, most importantly, loading and firing a revolver for reasons. What happens is, so the prospector, his name is Bart Masters. Bart Masters is fixing to retire. He's got enough gold to last him the rest of his life, and him and O'Neill decide they're gonna strike out for the civilized world and enjoy the fruits of their labor for the past umpteen years that they've toiled in this mine. And they literally have like thousands of dollars worth of gold mined. And there's this group of bandits led by this dude named Tut Strawhand. And so they're called the Strawhand Gang. And Tut Strawhand and his gang basically go in and murder Masters. And the gorilla, O'Neill, is like chained up at the time because when he was young, he'd like wander off. So his master put him on a leash at night, So they kill Masters, they take his gold, and O'Neill, in classic King Kong fashion, breaks his chains and takes Masters' revolver off of the wall and goes after him. And what follows is this bonkers ass vengeance trail across Colorado where like one by one O'Neill is catching up and killing killing Tut Strawhand's men. Strawhand goes crazy being chased by this gorilla, hooks up with a bunch of miners who like set a trap to catch him, and of course he breaks out of that. Along the way, he encounters no shortage of like weird little side quests. O'Neill does, one of which is eating, because he weighs 600 pounds. He's a vegetarian, so he's got to figure out what to eat. So, which I thought was kind of a clever thing to do for something like this. Like he's gonna starve to death if he doesn't get enough food. And where the hell are you gonna get, bananas and pineapples and stuff, and whatever the hell else gorillas eat in Colorado?
He eats, shoots, and leaves. Yes. I was hoping I'd get to make that joke.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm Paul.
I'm Steve. Shuck yourself.
So he actually does something pretty clever. O'Neill does. He finds, like, periodically he'll run into like caravans that are like traveling back and forth, going out west, whatever. And he raids them and basically takes their canned goods and stuff because he knows how to open cans. And eats their peaches, and they come in a can. You can make that joke too if you want.
I'll let you have that one.
So the less said about that, the better. Anyway, so meanwhile, Tut Strawhand hooks up with this bunch of miners. They form the new gang. He's lost everything, by the way. Strawhand has lost all the gold that he stole. All of his men are dead. This ceaseless 600-pound, 6'6" killing machine is keeps coming after him no matter what he does.
He's a ceaseless 600-pound, 6'6" gun killing machine.
That's right.
I think
those were Motorhead lyrics, I think.
No, I thought it was something that the gentle lady from Texas said.
There is one thing about this book, as much as I love it. There's a couple things about this book that bother me, even though I love it. One is, of course, being in the West. There's some pretty stereotypical portrayals of some indigenous folks, and it's hard. It's hard to read, but it doesn't deplete my enjoyment of the story. It just, I was reading along and I get like the last third of it and I'm like, oh yeah, that's where this happens. So, but it doesn't ruin my enjoyment of the story. What does ruin my enjoyment of the story is how it's written. There's moments in this book that are brilliant, and there's a large chunk of it that's kind of unimaginative. It's just they're just telling the story to get to the next point, Like the beginning of each chapter will be like really well written, and then it'll just go into like, and then he pulled out a gun, and then he ran away, and then he did this, So again, this is written by anonymous, the same fine folks who are trying to fix your credit score. But no, really, nobody knows who wrote this book. Nobody will take credit for it. And that's with good reason, and it's also a shame because it is a lot of fun. You can find it on Project Gutenberg, which is where I found it and yanked it and put it into this book form via the fine folks at lulu.com. Not a sponsor. So anyway, eventually O'Neill catches up with Strawhand, and in classic, Western fashion, they have a high noon shootout draw contest. So yeah, 6-gun gorilla.
Who wins?
Well, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it. It's a bit of a slog at times. But I imagine if I was reading it in increments, like coming through in the each issue, it'd be a little bit less so. But as a whole volume, it does get a bit. It was hard to read the second time I read this. I think I was messaging you like I still got 100 pages to go with this damn thing. But I do like it. It's just looking at it with a critical eye the second time I read it, and looking at it to talk about it, I started noticing things about it. But I still recommend it if you want to read something that's just fun and dumb. This is a lot of fun. It's interesting when the writer or writers, because I think there may have been more than one, because sometimes like the tone of the writing changes a little bit here and there, not just in descriptions. So it might have been written by more than one person. But yeah, if you want to read something fun and dumb, and there's some fun stuff where like they actually will climb inside the gorilla's head, like as he tries to figure things out. Like there's a scene where he comes across a player piano, and he's on this great vengeance trail, but this player piano goes off, and he's just like, he thinks it's the coolest thing in the world. He's like distracted by it. And it's like, oh yeah, I was killing people.
Couple of things before I forget. We got a few loose ends to tie up here. One is fun and dumb is how I was often described in college. The other is the writers of this particular work would like for you to know. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us. Hey, on a scale of Clyde from Every Which Way But Loose to Harambe, where do you place this particular set of words?
I'm going to put Six Gun Gorilla closer to Clyde than Harambe, because Harambe is a saint. Clyde was just a badass. So yeah, I'm gonna make this one a Clyde.
Awesome. I love those old illustrations though. The next time we print a copy of this public domain work, I think we should use one of those public domain illustrations.
I have entertained more than once the idea of reprinting this with my own illustrations and including a much better cover. It's
Big Broccoli Studios Press, has a lot on our plate, so we don't know when we'll get to it, but
yeah, I mean, I might start drawing the illustrations. The thing I learned about drawing illustrations for At the Mountains of Madness, link down below, is like you have to go through the chapters and find like that pivotal moment in the chapter to illustrate, and sometimes you can't find one. So what do you do?
Right.
So that took me a year. So this might take me a little bit longer.
Well, we don't have that much more time. I mean, that was macabre.
Yes. I'll tell you what, here's my goal. My goal is to have it done by next March. So anybody that wants to pick up a copy of it and review it for April can do so in April. So yeah, I'll make it a priority. I'll bump it up a little higher on my back burners.
And instead of calling it the 6-gun gorilla, it's going to be called 600-pound, 6-foot, 6-gun simian badass.
I'll make that the blurb on the back of the book.
Critics say this is a 600-pound, 6-foot, 6-gun simian badass. Speaking of things on our plate, we are looking forward to Horror Mayhem, which starts sooner than I would like. Horror Mayhem is an event created by the Bookish Bryants. It was created by the Bookish Bryants, Bob, and it's fun. Last year, I think we went in a little too heavy. We had just started our channel and saw it as our opportunity, right? So it felt like homework. Like every day, I'm like, I got to read another horror book. But we've got a few books. We got a few stories on tap for y'all. I'm looking forward to it. Some weird fiction mixed in there.
Yeah, we're gonna put a little bit of a focus on Lovecraft for Horror Mayhem.
Yeah,
because we missed the golden opportunity to create March Madness. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, March Madness. We could have done March Madness, but we were busy with the apes.
Yes.
We were busy with the apes, Bob. But yeah, we're gonna focus on some Lovecraft. This Horror Mayhem. We may throw in a few other things. Who knows?
Yeah. I have some other stuff that I'm reading that I want to talk about.
Yeah. And you know what? This is what you call a callback. Any story can be horror if you try hard enough. Or as Jordan Peele said, the difference between horror and comedy is the music.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Rocket Summer too, because I got a few science fiction things I want to read.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize I don't have to wait for the event to read these things, which, by the way, I haven't. I've already read a little bit of Lovecraft. I've been reading ahead, like a good student. But yeah, if you all got any suggestions for stuff to read, thanks again to the outlaw Levi Wallace for creating APE-ril. I'm already looking forward to next year. If anybody wants to do February parody next year, let me know. We can get ready for February parody.
Yes.
We decided not to do it this year because one of your humble hosts overplayed his hand and didn't want to. I figure any hand worth playing is worth overplaying, but not in this case.
So we cooked up Dead of Winter and had a lot of fun with it.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah. Are you ready to back this bus over the tracks?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, having said all that, I'm Paul.
I'm Steve.
And the next time you're looking for something to read,
check your shelf.
Also, AI is theft.
You know what it is? Oh, I'm going to try this. My son told me the reason this happens when you're trying to think of something is because you're trying to imagine yourself thinking of it, which is not the same neurons you would use to access the memory. Imagination has one set of the brain, whereas memory has a different part of the brain. And so what you're doing is like trying to imagine yourself remembering it. And that's totally the wrong place to be when you're trying to think of something. So what you have to do is force yourself not to imagine yourself thinking of it. So that's what I'm going to do.
These damn kids, man. Why are they so smart, dude?
Seriously.